Hello, everybody. I decided to make another video in conjunction with my first startup, I guess, series. And this video is going to be on focusing on melee concepts for beginners, and maybe at the end we can get into some other end game concepts depending on your epic destiny if you make it that far. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the fighter class, and the reason why I picked fighter to explain on this video is most characters, if they just fire up the game tomorrow morning, are not going to have the monk class available. I think it's for VIPs, but I'm not even sure what you need, or you can purchase it with turbine points a little bit later. So on this video, we're just going to work on the fighter aspects. And because I only have most of my fighters are mixed, this is the one that I got currently in the game to help show the trees and stuff. And I apologize. I guess I I'm on one character that's my main for this video, but that doesn't mean that somebody couldn't just go roll up the fighter tomorrow morning. So we're gonna start. The first thing is we're gonna look at the character sheet, and I usually just end up accessing over here in the lower left-hand corner, the main menu, and then go to character sheet. I think there is a button for your keyboard. I don't even know which one it is. I have such a habit of going over there. And so this particular build has 8 levels of fighter, and I have 5 monk going on. Now, as sort of a first advanced concepts, I guess, or startup thoughts about the fighter is within the last like couple years, DDO has redone what it's called as its trees, and they're Kensai fighter, stalwart defender, and I'll put the last one in here just to show people it's Vanguard. It's like if you rolled up a fighter tomorrow morning and you wanted to be more of a tank, that's what people refer to as just a character that's very good at getting aggro and taking damage, and it's so defensive in nature that it usually doesn't get hit as much. I have a tank on my roster that I will do a future video about at a later date, but for the purpose of going in and beating on stuff, there's two other choices for the fighter that are kind of cool. One, the Vanguard is not what I went into. This is a shield based bashing type of character in this tree. The one that I took was the Kensai because I feel that it offers the most bang for the buck in terms of two-handed fighting, two-handed weapons. Now, you can also, you know, you can also kind of take your pick on the two-handed weapons that you want to use. They're heavy. I spec this one in the beginning for big axes, the what's called the great axe, and I have a couple of them down here in my hotbar, depending on what we're going to be. trying to hit. Now, on the enhancements tree for the fighter, and I know there's a lot of stuff in here. Like if you just rolled this up tomorrow morning, you'd be, oh my God, what's going on? There's a kind of a big learning curve if somebody doesn't, walk you through it. As you gain experience, you gain action points, APs, and you get to spend them then in whatever you want to design your character. That's the basis of all this. Why leveling is it's kind of important, and how you gear your character all ties into this to make it super powerful. So on the first tier, I'm up to a level 8 fighter. You start out with the Kenzai Axis focus. And if I open up this tree, no, I can't. It's going to offer you all kinds of choices for all different weapons. It gives you bonuses and opens up the next set all the way up to the top based on what you took in the beginning. I think it's here. Wait, it won't let me open it because I have it all filled out. So what I could do is reset it just to show you that. Who cares? It's only in-game bunny. So I reset it and got all those points back, and now it'll allow me to repick. So right here in the bottom, when you pick this, it gives you a choice of all different weapon types. There's one for ranged, Kenzai Focus Archery. There's one that I got is for axes. It includes great axe. There's one over here for maul, which is another two-handed weapon. Like if that's what I was primarily going to use, you would pick accordingly down here. And I'm going to redo that one for axes. Gives you right off the bat a +1 to hit with those weapons. And dwarves, because they're special, they have their own special dwarven axe bonuses, also get the bonus. So see, that starts to open up the next group of things over here. And I'll just fill it out like I had it, I think. And spend 5 points to advance to the next level. So you might be starting out at level 1, you might not, you might only have like one of these available. And what you're doing is you're just starting to work up as you get going, as you gain levels. Do I want Read in the Wind? No. Like that's gonna be start over. I apologize. I didn't realize that that was not going to show. I'm wasting time on the video going through. What did I take? Not exotic weapon, extra action boosts. And I wouldn't worry so much right now about what all these do. I'm still going to try and make this uh, video about feats and choices for melee. Almost there. Gonna take the action boost haste. To get to the 5th tier, you have to spend 30 points. How many do I got left? 13. I'll hustle here. Boy, that's annoying. Oh yeah, aesthetic training. And what I wanted to get into, and what did I do? See, I messed that up so bad that I won't even be able to get all this. I didn't get my second strike there. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, now we're back to normal. All right, I'm gonna open up the feats sheet here, and I'm gonna show some of these things in here that you can do to start out your character. And the good thing about fighter is you get a lot of feats. I think it's like you get a bonus feat extra at first level, and then one fighter bonus feat every 2 levels after that. So instead of getting a feat for the normal ones, 6, 9, 12, and 15, and 18, you get extras on top of it that are based usually in your fighter, in the fighter field. So one of the most important things is for me on this character is the power attack. And this is a stance, and it's a feat that will trade 5 of your attack bonus for that much extra damage on your weapon. You have to think of your weapon as having an initial die roll. You swing it, and then that is your attack roll, and then your damage roll gets rolled separately by the computer after you hit the target. So what it's saying there is you're going to trade your attack bonus up to 5, and you're going to tack that attack bonus onto your damage when you hit it. And then it says, while using a two-handed weapon, you gain double the bonus to damage. And so it's a very big improvement to two-handed weapon users overall, and to single weapon users, like, or if you wanted to dual wield. Now, I'm not going into a dual wielding a build, and it's because I over time have collected a number of really nice axes in this game to use to beat on things, and and the other real reason was, I don't know, about a year ago I saw a video of somebody on YouTube hit a critical strike for like 70,000 points of damage, and I just decided, well, hey, if that guy can do that, I'm sure that I can eventually find the build or find something that can do something pretty incredible. So I'm running this up to level 30 just to see how high of a critical hit I can get. Now, if you're rolling tomorrow morning, some of these feats are relative for you. Um, in order for you to play through the game and be competent, even on a 28 point build or 32. The primary stats for the fighter, I believe, are your constitution, and it's mainly strength. Strength for two-handed weapons is what is going to determine some of your damage output. After that, if you have anything left, I would almost maybe go to Dex or even to Intel to get more skill points per level. But, that's something that's up to you. So first thing I would do is probably try to go roll human. And the good thing about that is human also gets another bonus feat at the beginning of the game. So essentially, you could start with 3 feats right off the bat. It's very easy to play and start up with that sort of character creation um, choice. So I do like maybe 17 and 17, or if I could get 18, 16, would probably still work and be competent with that point, with that lower point total. Now, don't be intimidated by this, what this is all at. This character's got tomes and all kinds of other things. But I think your key starts with like 17, 17, or 18. If you could do it 18, 16 maybe. Then for your starting feats, since you would start with 3 on a human build and your strength is high enough, it has a requirement of a strength 13. I would grab that. I would probably grab toughness for some extra hit points. And then I would also start out as a requirement the strength 15 two-handed fighting tree. And you got to be careful when you pick this at your character creation and read what they say. In two-handed fighting, there's another one there that's two-weapon fighting. And you just got to pay attention to what you're doing there so that you're spec'd correctly to grab the right feat. Two-handed fighting is for all of the two-handed weapons in the game. This would be a quarterstaff, the maul, the great sword, and the great axe. That would be enough to get you through. Now, on this two-handed fighting feat, there's another thing. If you read down after the 3% chance for weapon effects to trigger on glancing blows, it says a +2 combat style bonus to melee power. Melee power helps you in all ways the higher it is for your damage output. I'm not going to jump into the math on all of that and make it complicated, but on your character sheet, you had these little icons on the side that you have to hover over. And so it's right to the right of the BAB numbers. That stands for base attack bonus. And I'm hovering over the weapon power right here. And that's how you get a reading on what your melee weapon power is at. And right next to that is another one for your attack bonuses. It says double strike, double shot, melee attack speed bonus, ranged attack speed bonus, and bypass deflection. There are ways to build melee power in the game with feat and by enhancement trees. Like if I hover over the Henshin Monk, which I've started up on this character, some of its core enhancements at the bottom are giving you more melee power. I know it's only like 3, per core or bottom tier enhancements, whatever they are. That'd be 6, another 9 if I went up there that far. And some of the feats, after you take two-handed fighting, you also get greater two-handed fighting along the way. This requires a strength of 17 to eventually get up there. And then when you take these feats, they're also giving you a combat style to your melee power as you progress in the game. So I think there's also improved. Yep, improved comes up first, and that would bring you to a +4. And then the greater comes up at higher levels. You have to have a +11 base attack bonus for that to open. And improved, you got to take first. So those are feat choices along the way as you progress to build that melee power, through the game, make it do more damage. And eventually, it'll start to work with some of these upper tier 5 Kentai enhancements. Like the Deadly Strike is almost like an insta kill for a fighter. Like a one hit and you're done. You can see you make an attack to perform a melee attack that is automatically considered a critical threat. On Vorpal, on a 20, it's 500 damage, which scales with melee power. Here's another one. It's called a Good Death. Same deal. You perform melee attack with a +1 critical damage multiplier. And on damage, if a target is below 30% of its health, deal 500 damage that scales with 400% of your melee power. So, what I really like about the fighter tree, and if I was just rolling it up, is all these upper tier 5 finishing moves, kind of, and special attacks that you can use to annihilate stuff. Now, I think we'll move on to some advanced topics about the fighter. Or maybe, I don't know. How about inventory quick? If I was rolling one of these guys up tomorrow morning. Over here in your inventory, you can access all of this stuff. Either I think this is I on your keypad, or again, you can go down to the lower left main menu and click the inventory. And it does say your hotkey is I. Okay, in your inventory, you've got this round, all these little squares here that can get filled in with items. One's for your boots, your gloves, your ring, 2 rings, belt, cloak, trinket, a necklace, something on your head, and some goggles. And then there's your armor slot. And a set of bracers. In my recommendation for beginner gear, like if I was leveling a fighter through 1 through 4, the first thing you want to do is try to get items that you feel that'll fill these slots. Like you're gonna start pretty bare. I think you get a set of armor. You get like a set of armor from the beginning quest, or if you skip the quest and go directly to Korthos, they still dump stuff in there, and they give you a choice of a weapon to use also if you're fresh off the boat. And on this particular fighter, if I rolled it as a great axe user, I would pick the great axe. So you got something to go swing away with, and their starter armor. Now, fighter can be built uh, and mixed with a lot of different classes. On this one, because I'm a monk, I have to wear robes to stay centered. But if I was fresh off the boat in Korthos there, I would start probably gearing for heavy armor for this slot. Uh, I would try to find anything with a strength item and constitution item to get minor boosts, like plus ones, or try to find try to find items that would maybe also boost dexterity. It's going to help your reflex saves throughout the game a little bit if it's high enough. Anything for constitution, like currently I am wearing a necklace that's a plus 5, and it's a little under my level. I could probably do better there. Uh, I don't recommend, I'm not going to recommend specific things for any of these slots. And it's because, again, your gear in the beginning is sparse, and you will be filling stuff in that you deem useful. You know, because those because that beginner gear is that way, it's hard to find. Usually, and try to get stuff from questing, or if you're playing with your buddy, have them pass over or trade you items that they can't use that you might need. It's a good way to do it too. Or if you have cool guild members, hey, can I have that plus 2 strength item? Thank you. I'll trade you something. I'll trade you a wand of blur later or something. So I think that's the gist of the startup. Now I think it's probably time to go into advanced concepts here. Uh, and I don't know if I'm going to spend very much time talking about this advanced stuff because it's all up to you as a beginner if you decide to take the game this far. Uh, as I was explaining to some of my other guild members as the purpose of this, let's give me a warning. I can't change Twist of Fate while I'm under 30. Uh, really? How many warnings do I need? Like 40? I guess, huh? 20? As um as a melee, later on I was planning this out to sort of stick around and not go do a racial TR at 20 because I was really having fun playing this one. Uh, the character sheet on my bio has this listing, uh, and this is a running total because I haven't figured out how to enter any kind of data or script on my videos yet, which I'm working on too. Trying to get a video editor that will do that for me. This is a running total of the final critical damage multiplier. Now, I explained earlier that I saw this guy do this video, and I got inspired there to try and register one big, huge critical hit. And this is a running total right now of the totals that are available for my build with all the feats and the epic destinies. And I've opened up the legendary Dreadnought Epic Destiny here to go over these ED Legendary Dreadnought Epic Destiny feats. Okay, and they're right here for a Great Axe. This is a devastating critical, and this is going to give you a +1 critical damage multiplier on a roll of a 19 or 20 on your die. And the last tier, the Headman's Chop, it's going to give you another critical damage multiplier on a roll of 19 or 20. Now, I got on here Monk Stance. That's one from being in the Fire Stance. Later on, I think Master of Forms, you start to gain a +1 critical multiplier on attack rolls of 19 or 20 for whatever you're using, as long as you're centered. And what's important about this is it's not listed as any type. Um, so you're getting a stack on there. It's not listed as competence bonus. It's not listed as enchantment bonus or anything else. Strike with no thought is a competence bonus. That comes from the third tier of the fighter. Okay, so competence bonus is not going to stack with another competence bonus, but you already have one. And then I got on here the Riftmaker. This is an axe that drops from the chain in the Shavarath, and it has a base ×4. The epic feat overwhelming critical is an epic feat. That's self-explanatory that you can take if you have some of the requirements met. So I'm going to go to feats here, and I'm going to try and show unavailable and show it to you there so that you can see where it is. If I can find it here. Right here. And it requires improved critical, either slashing, range, thrown, or bludgeon, or pierce. I have all the requirements met for this right now, even though I'm not level 20 or 21 or 24. I can take it when I get there. So, in pursuit of that deadly strike, I'm over here in the half orc tree crushing out points to get this raging crush up. Half orc racial tree is awesome for two-handed fighters. And I'm working up the improved power attack and its damage, orcish weapon training, and brutality. So these are going to be my primary tiers here. And it's with the thought of pounding out a raging crush at the end because it's guaranteed to be a critical hit later. There is, in terms of melee, again, I'm going back to the bio, something that was higher, and I wrote on here future idea. And this build was for, again, great axes, but it was a mix, a barbarian fighter, and I didn't know really yet about the bard because there might not be enough action points to go around. But I think I had calculated out a way to get up to ×10 while raged. And I mixed in the fighter 6 just to get this other competence bonus down here. So I know you're going to be blowing through a lot of action points on this build, but this is the one that I think is going to be able to chase after that lofty goal of 76,000. And I'm not so concerned with, on this build, I'm going to open up my inventory. I'm not so concerned right now with the critical range. And it's because I already know that the Raging Crush is going to guarantee a critical hit when I pop it or when I hit it in game. Now, the critical threat range currently listed on this is 18 to 20. That's a 18 on the die roll, a 19 or 20. So 15% chance, roughly, or it is 15% to actually hit a critical multiplier. Critical multiplier immediately, and I'm not going to do all the math right away, but it doubles your damage on your strike. So you want to have, when building a melee, you would like in a perfect world to have a huge critical threat range on your weapon instead of just a 20. I mean, any 20 on your roll is guaranteed to be a critical. But if you can raise that to have a chance to do double damage, it's even better. So as an example, boy, this is pretty advanced stuff, huh? I don't want to overwhelm everybody with with the thought pattern here. What was I gonna just do? Go back to my bio because I wrote these other builds on here so that I could visit them later. And then the next one was another future idea. This is a Mall Rager, and it's a barbarian cleric and a 6 fighter. And I was doing the total on the critical damage multiplier, would probably get a times 8, but its critical threat range was coming out, it might even be 13 to 20, or like 40% or 35% chance to strike a critical hit. So higher critical threat range, less damage multiplier. This would be a lot of fun right here. Real high chance to hit double hits. So I've set up the lower deck area on the X-Deus guild ship to go beat on stuff. And I've unloaded all of my enhancements when I reset. They're not in here. But it doesn't really matter. As a player playing the melee for the first time, I guess I sort of like learned how to set up the keyboard and set up your on-screen things. Because I got this new computer screen, everything got spread out so far that I was having problems clicking away over here. I just set up this hotbar here in the middle with the special strike so that I can manually click close to the action, close to the center. But my hotbars are set up 1 through 10 is right down here. See, there's the trip, there's the cleave. Number 2 is not active, and here is the Raging Crush. And then the monk moves. So path to harmonious balance. And I can manually click it there. It's giving me heals now off of this. Something you have to work out on your own if you're starting out is trying to find something that you can play with ease and makes sense to you. Down here at the bottom is a tier for all of the axes as you're going through the game. And I can click off manually for what I need depending on what I'm striking. Some gear has clickies that I put down here that I might use. This one's a stone skin clicky. And you just double click that if you run across or you have items like that. You can see I turned into stone, just giving me some damage protection. Over here is everything that's active or should be active. Uh, you can tell that it's going because there's a little circle in blue going around. The interesting thing about the half orc tree and power attack is its improved power attack goes on when power attack goes on. And I'll shut it off. You can see there's nothing blue around it. And then you get the little notification on in the game with the sound. And you can see the little blue thing going around up there. These bottoms are just the monk stances. And I'm probably not going to be using wind, mountain, or ocean stance. And again, that was just to get that critical multiplier later. When I get it, I have to get the feat for the sun stance yet. Whatever it is, Master of Forms. No, not high enough level yet. So I think that is my rundown on this. And I can't wait to see the damage numbers later in the game for this particular build. But in terms of the fighter aspect, with some of those moves still in there and not having the half work uh, race to begin with, you can still use the fighter attacks, Deadly Strike, and a good death to do some pretty good damage later on in the game. And that's it. I think that's the end of my video for my fighter rundown. I hope you had fun.